Thank you so much, everyone. Hello to our midweek Wednesday night Oasis service. My name is Paul Pursuti. I'll be your host tonight, and Oakland Center welcomes you. In recognition of Pride Month, I'm going to greet you the way I used to when I did this full time, with the immortal words of practitioner Richard Robinson. When he led Sunday morning services with meditation, he would always say, "Good morning, church family." And that warmed my heart when he welcomed us into meditation. So in remembrance and in honor of him, I say to you tonight, hello, church family. Again, we welcome you to our midweek oasis. And as you will be able to experience tonight, Wednesday night oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Most Wednesday night services build upon the theme of the previous Sunday, sharing in a satsang style, expressing science of mind principles and practices. It is our intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and interactive, richly interactive. Our annual theme for 2023 is Living Out Loud, and our monthly theme for June is kind of twofold. It's the evolution of self-care and celebrating Pride Month. Now, last Sunday, Reverend Linda Rapond introduced ideas inspired by the talk title of Balancing Grief and Joy. And tonight, our speaker, practitioner Doug Myers, will continue that exploration on the same topic. But as we gather tonight, we welcome you. That's very important that you feel welcome in community here at the Oakland Center. Early in her ministry with us, Reverend Sunshine Michelle invited us to come to the center well. And to do so, she shared these 6 C's for us to consider. Come with a heart of love and tenderness. We call that compassion. Come ready to exchange openly, known as communication. Come in harmony and ready to share, camaraderie. Come in partnership and cooperation. I'd like to think of that as collaboration. And come in spiritual awareness and truth, consciousness. To me, this really embodies what Wednesday night service is all about. So as we moved into the program tonight, these 6 C's are the premise of sharing a wonderful evening with you tonight. If you are new to our community, joining us for the first time, even as of tonight, please visit our homepage, www.oaklandcsl.org. That's how you found us. Click on the I'm New icon on the homepage and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin receiving the Village News newsletter once a week in your email. It has all the information on what is happening at the center in the coming weeks. Little housekeeping before we get started with the talk. Please mute your own audio microphone. You can leave your video camera on if you wish or turn it off, but having your microphones muted will improve the quality of our recording and transmission. If you can't do that, our Zoom team will be happy to do that for you. So please stay tuned through to the end of the service, where I'll be sharing special and important announcements. Our speaker tonight, as I said, is Doug Myers, and he's a practitioner here at the Oakland Center and has been serving in that capacity for 18 years. I can't believe it. He doesn't look a day over 15. He also serves as chaplain for the Walnut Creek Police Department. Doug is also a co-host with Sri Devi on the 4th Friday of every month for our long-standing and wonderful diversity circle. He is also fashionably appropriate tonight, wearing practitioner Richard Robinson's famous ribbon jacket. I can still see Richard saying "Good morning, church family" in it. Tonight, his topic is also what Reverend Linda's was, which is balancing grief and joy. So, as we do with every organized event at the center, we open with prayer. Doug, will you do the honors this evening?
Absolutely. So, good evening, church family. So I am indeed wearing, this was gifted to me from Richard. Reverend Jerry presented it to me at Richard's Memorial, which I wore. And so when I learned that I was going to be doing the service tonight, immediately Richard came into my head and said, well, you must wear my coat of many colors. And so here I am. And I'm going to date myself, Paul. So these are my freedom rings. These are, so it's little rainbow colors. So I got these in either when I was 21 or 22. It was the very first Pride Parade in San Francisco that I went to with my then boyfriend, Jim Van Busker, actually, who, by the way, is going to be our presenter at the Diversity Circle a week from Friday. So, okay, here we go into prayer. So just taking a deep breath in and knowing that there is only one love, one heart, one mind that is everywhere present. For God imbues each one of us with its infinite intelligence, its infinite loving kindness, its infinite peace, its infinite joy. There is no place the Spirit is not. It has no beginning nor no end. It just simply expands into eternality. It is the Alpha and the Omega. It is the unifying consciousness of all creation. For God so loved of itself that it is created into all things and all beings. And I absolutely know for myself that the very center of who and what I am is indeed Spirit, as Doug. And as I know this to be the truth of who and what I am, I absolutely know this is the truth for each one of us here present, and indeed for every living person and being on this planet. We are all one with Spirit. And so I bless this evening, and I express my thanks for those of you who have decided to join us tonight. I bless the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, which provides a safe venue for everyone, no matter who they are, no matter who they love. It is a welcoming and inclusive community that is dedicated to the principles and the teachings of the science of mind. These spiritual tools that we use to better ourselves, to better the lives of everyone. For it is within our consciousness that we spread the word, that we spread the peace, that we spread the unity, that we spread the love across our community, our area, the entire world, that vibration is felt by the consciousness of each one of us here tonight. For we are all here by divine appointment, as love, as peace, as joy. And for all of this and the more, I just rest in gratitude. I rest in gratitude for the team tonight, for the Wednesday Oasis, who give so lovingly of their time to present this program to each one of us every week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for all of this, all of you that have joined, thank you. And with a grateful heart, Please join me in saying, and so it is.
We're ready when you are, Doug.
Oh, am I starting?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Hi. As Paul mentioned, my name is Doug Myers. I've been a practitioner here at the Oakland Center for 18 years. So I have two more years to get to that emeritus position that my beloved Dorothy Mendez has, and Dodie and Carmen. I'm sure I'm missing some folks too. And as Paul mentioned, I am indeed wearing the robe that Richard presented to Jerry to give to me, which was a great surprise, and I lovingly wear tonight in his honor. So let's see. So Peter, you want to go to the very first slide? So the topic, again, is balancing grief and joy. This is the Pride edition. This is going to be very, very different from the loving-hearted service that Reverend Dr. Linda Rapond gave on Sunday. It will be different. So I'm putting my own spin on this. And so what I would like to say is that equality for all, not for some. I envision a world where every member of the LGBTQ+ family has freedom to live their truth without fear and with equality under the law. And know that we are more powerful together than apart, and we've never been more energized or more focused. We're living in challenging times, and making space for grief is essential for finding joy, particularly in the light of important celebrations in June, like Juneteenth and Pride Month. One thing that I would like to say is that at any point, if you have a question, feel free to use the raise hand icon, and you can ask a question. If not, you can hold your questions at the end, because otherwise I'll just be blathering on and on and on. So this is, I'm inviting you to make this interactive as you wish. And so we're going to go next to, you can show the next slide for me there, Peter. So I'm going to start our evening with a music video. This music video is performed by Billy Porter and a very diverse group of performers. We're going to actually start at the end of it, where Billy expresses what his intention was for creating the video, and sort of the bridge within this song, Children, is show you how to grow, show you how to know. Let the children know what time it is, and know that each one of us are the children. So take it away, Peter, and thank you.
Well, while he's setting that up, do you want to tell people who are watching this later where they can see this?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put it in. Will they be able to see chat?
No.
Constance? No.
No.
Okay. So if you go to YouTube and just type in Children Billy Porter, and Billy Porter is an Emmy Award winning actor. He was on Broadway in a musical version of a film that's called Kinky Boots. He played the character Lola. And actually the boots that he's wearing in this particular video are indeed Lola's red boots from Kinky Boots. The book was written by Harvey Fierstein, and the music was done by Cyndi Lauper. He also won an Emmy for Best Actor on a television show, Pose. Okay, so I had the opportunity to see Billy Porter perform in San Jose last month, and he's amazing. And the reason that I selected this song is that when he speaks to his cast members, he's talking about hope and in a dark time when they may not feel hopeful. And I purposely wanted to use this because the front end of this talk tonight is on the dark side. I'm just gonna be upfront about that. And so if anyone has anything they'd like to share before I get started, please feel free to raise your hand. And if not, I'll just move forward. I'm not sure if I can see everybody. Okay. If I don't catch you, just feel free to like come off mute and say, hey, Doug, I have a question. Okay. Alrighty. So thank you, Peter, for that. So let me have us go to the next slide. So you may all be familiar with these words or initialisms, but just in case, I didn't want to make an ass of me if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So I just wanted to briefly highlight some. My PowerPoint got messed up. So these are some of the terms that you're going to hear tonight. So transgender, so it's an umbrella term used for persons whose gender identity, gender expression, or behavior does not conform to the typically associated with the sex to which they were assigned at birth. It is also sometimes used as trans. Non-binary is used to describe people who feel their gender cannot be defined within the margins of gender binary, so male, female. Instead, they understand their gender in a way that goes beyond simply identifying as either a man or a woman. And then cisgender, it's used if your gender is the same as you were assigned at birth. It's sometimes used as cis for short. So for example, I could be a cis man because I was born male and I identify as male. For the initialism, I'm going to be using tonight the LGBTQ+ acronym. And it stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and or questioning. And the plus sign is the countless from the ways that which people choose to self-identify. You may also see kind of before the plus IP2SAA, which is the initialism for intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, asexual, and ally. All right, I think we can go on to the next slide. So our first part is on grief. Balancing grief and joy. So we're in the grief phase. So America has a problem. And that is not just a song by Beyonce, because that is indeed one of her songs. When it comes to the health and safety of the LGBTQ+ community in the United States, the Human Rights Campaign announced the first ever emergency declaration this past week. Do you want to go to the next slide for me, Peter? So it highlighted some damaging trends in our nation. According to the HRC, 525 anti-LGBTQ plus bills were introduced in 49 states in our country. Of those, more than 220 of them are targeted at transgender people. And more than 76 anti-LGBTQ plus bills have already become law this year. And that's more than double last year's number. Which means that at 5.5 months, 2023 is now officially the worst year on record for anti-gay LGBTQ plus legislation in America. This is a lot to take in. It's Pride Month. LGBTQ plus individuals should be celebrating their pride. And we are. There have been many, many, many pride celebrations already. The big one in San Francisco isn't until the 25th of this month. So we should be comfortable living out loud if that's what we wish to do. But this year, unfortunately, that's not everyone's reality. Many folks are living in states led by conservative politicians who are hell-bent on targeting our community. And it's not just in our own communities either. They're trying to spread a message of hate nationwide. But let's look at Florida first, a prime example. Just this past week, a judge struck down a new Florida law designed to ban transgender minors from receiving gender-affirming care. The judge in Florida said that gender identity is real. And another judge had to rule Tennessee's law unconstitutional after it strictly limited drag shows in public, places where children may be present. Now, other than drag story time, I've not ever been to a drag show where children have been present. And trust me, at the drag story time that are held in libraries, one that was just, there were a group of men from the Proud Boys in San Leandro just a couple of days ago. They showed up again. So all of this is rhetoric, but it can turn to action. And in these two cases, the judges were smart enough and followed the law and made it positive action. And it can be dangerous and result in violence against our communities. We're almost 6 months to the day of the attack in Colorado Springs. A 22-year-old guy entered Club Q, which is a gay nightclub, just before midnight on November the 19th, and he immediately opened fire, killing at least 5 people and injuring 25 others before patrons confronted and stopped him. The suspect used a long rifle, and they also found 2 other firearms that he had with him. And if you remember, in 2016, June, what are we today? June the 14th, it was on June the 12th. A 29-year-old man entered Pulse nightclub. He killed 49 people and wounded 53 in a mass shooting. The police officers ultimately shot and killed him, but it was a 3-hour standoff. These are targeted expressions of violence against the LGBTQ plus community. I went to a play a couple of weeks ago with my partner. It was called The Confessions of Lily Dare, and the lead actor in it was performing in drag. And even though I knew it was a safe space, in the back of my mind was the fact that there could be someone in the audience, there could be someone that could come in that could cause harm. And that pisses me off. Sorry for that, but it does. Okay, Peter, let's go to the next slide. So rhetoric matters. And it matters a lot. So really listen to this. In the 1980s, there were 2 reported murders of transgender people. I'm talking a decade here, 2. In the 1990s, there were 2 reported murders of transgender people. In the 20,000s, there were 10 reported murders of transgender people. In the 2010s, it went up to 27 reported murders. And in 2020, there were 44 reported murders of transgender and non-binary people. In 2021, there were 59 reported murders of transgender and non-binary people. Last year, there were 38 reported murders. And in 2023, 5.5 months into the year, there have already been 12 reported murders of transgender and non-binary people. The most important thing to remember here is the term reported. Because a lot of the murders that take place in the trans community are not reported. So I would like, Peter, if you would show us the next slide. So these are the 12 people who have been murdered so far in 2020. So first, I would like to ask you if someone would be willing to share, what do you see looking at this collage of young women and young trans women and young trans men and non-binary folks that you see?
People of color.
People of color, yeah.
Anything else? What about
They're all young. They
all
look like.
young? Mhm.
And they're all women.
Except for 2.
Okay.
Yeah, women.
So,
right.
Banco.
Oh, Banco. Okay.
So
thank
Banco actually is the fellow that was shot by the security guard at Walgreens in
Right.
San Francisco.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Right.
And then Tortuguita is he's non-binary.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Doug, they also look like everyday men or women.
Mhm.
They don't look trans, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
They look like anybody, my neighbors, people at the grocery store. They don't look any different than what they're presenting.
Exactly. So I'm going to share with you what happened, and then we're going to take a moment of silence to take in a deep breath, because this isn't easy. But I want you to know what's going on in our country. So I'm going to start with Ashia at the top left, and just go straight across each row. So Ashia was found shot in a hotel room in Michigan. Banco, as I mentioned, was shot by an armed security guard on Market Street in San Francisco. Coco was shot in a shopping plaza parking lot in Georgia. Caches, the fire department was called to respond to a fire in her apartment. When they got into her apartment, they found her dead due to a gunshot. That was in Maryland. In the second, the middle row, Ashley, She was also found shot in her apartment in Georgia. Tashia was shot 5 times in a Wisconsin bar parking lot. Zachi was shot in a parking lot where she worked in Kentucky. Tortuguita was shot 14 times by Georgia state troopers at a protest in the woods. Jasmine, so on the bottom line, the bottom row, was found stabbed, lying in the street in Washington, D.C. KC was missing for 3 weeks. She lived in North Carolina. She was kidnapped. She was killed in South Carolina with a hammer and thrown into the Savannah River, and her body was ultimately found in the state of Georgia. Unique was killed in a mass shooting in Chicago, along with her mother and her friends. And Maria was the victim of a murder-suicide. She was killed by her partner in Texas. So I just invite everybody to take a deep breath in and to close your eyes and to know that where these beloveds are, and any persons who are the victims of gun violence in our country, and Lord knows it's a daily occurrence. That they are whole, perfect, and complete in their new realm of consciousness. They are loved and imbued and protected and guarded with the love and kindness that Spirit is. And may all of their memories be a blessing to their families and friends. When I looked into this, I just have to say, it breaks my heart. Okay, Peter, let's move on to the next slide. Affirmative prayer. All right. So I think I'll recognize one of those things that are in the PowerPoint there. And again, my PowerPoint is like messed up. I'm not sure why it like translated like that, but it's okay. So we have our magnificent rainbow window up top, and then we have this. So the fellow on the lower left, he's known as the queer Jesus, which I found very funny. And then there's another. That's actually the other stained glass window is a pride prayer window. That's what that's from. So we have to continue to do our spiritual work using all of our divine tools in our kit. Amid these attacks on the LGBTQ plus community, whether it's legislation, whether it's rhetoric, people are actually trying to find hope any way they can. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden hosted the largest Pride celebration at the White House this past Saturday. He called for new measures to support the rights and the safety of LGBTQ plus people amid all of the terrifying attacks and the legislations. So look, I mean, you can be a lawmaker, you can be an organizer, you can be somebody who wants better for the people of this nation. But it's time for all of us to stand up to the rhetoric. It's time to stand up for LGBTQ plus people. It's time to stand up for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. It's time for us to stand up for women and their ability to have access to safe health care, to make their own choices about their bodies. It's time to speak out against hate in all of its forms. It's a call to action, and we've got to walk the walk. We've got to treat and move our feet. And as much as we talk it, we literally have to do it. So 2023 has given us many reasons to grieve. The COVID-19 pandemic, and I not mistaken, Reverend Dr. Linda mentioned this as well, but it's taken over 1 million lives in the United States alone since 2019. That's a lot for, whether or not we had anyone in our immediate circle who succumbed to this. It changed our life, everybody. We didn't have the option, so it's changed us and how we live. And it's still has created more health, more financial and other struggles for many, many, many people. And as the US collectively awakens to our long overdue systemic anti-racism work, the work ahead is difficult. And the current events are traumatic. A woman's right to health care is under siege. And as hopeful as we may be for real intersectional change, it's really important to not ignore our grief. When it's difficult to find joy, we need to actively seek it, I believe. And it's critical to our well-being and to do our own spiritual work and to experience positive emotions. And one surprising way is maybe by focusing on processing the negative ones. We don't always, that's not a really comfortable place to go. No one really likes to do it, but ultimately it's a good thing for us to do. The goal isn't to expel the negative emotion of discomfort, because then we're just doing a spiritual bypass. It's to actually feel the discomfort of the negative emotion rather than ignoring it or numbing it. Because ultimately, if you do that, that can inadvertently numb the joy as well. So there is a poem called The Guest House. It's very well known. It's by the 13th century Sufi mystic Jalaluddin Rumi. And in the poem, Rumi uses the metaphor of a guest house to describe life's journey. And the poem is a reminder not to resist the thoughts and the emotions that are passing through you, but to meet them with courage and with warmth and respect. And heartbreak is kind of like a cleanse. And these seemingly unwelcome guests in the guest house of your mind will scrub away at everything that isn't untrue or unhelpful if you let them. And not to worry, being guests, they'll eventually depart as well. His poem is sublime, it's eloquent, and it makes us appreciate the uncertainty of life as we embrace mindful living. And so in your darkest moments, when your heart feels tender and broken wide open, consider turning to the wisdom of the poets. A good poem can act as a balm for your soul, as well as prepare you for the truths that you'll discover at this time. So Peter, if I can have you bring up the next slide. So here it is, the guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. All right, Peter, let's go to the next slide. We're moving into joy. So this is from our textbook by our beloved Ernest Holmes. If we gaze lovingly at joy, it will make its home with us, and we shall enter its portals and be happy. If we seek the divine in all beings, we shall find it. and be entertaining angels unaware. I love that. So, there's sad events in every one of our lives, right? And it'll stir up unhappy emotions, excuse me, of that experience. The hope that through the grief process, you're given the opportunity to kind of to rebalance your life, to feel sadness and joy, because let's face it, they're both valid emotions and they're part of our life. The Dalai Lama once said, happiness is the balance of joy and sorrow. So if this is happiness, then the goal of grief is not to dismiss the sadness, but to allow a balanced life in which one feeling doesn't encompass your whole life as you walk through with all feelings in a balanced and healthy life. Allowing ourselves to grieve actually creates space, I think, for us to feel the joy, and it can help, and it can help us, I think, stay motivated for action. As I've expressed earlier tonight, there's a lot in the world that's pretty terrible right now, and there's a lot of things that are wrong, that are scary, that are dangerous. But I invite all of us to keep our focus on joy, on love, on peace, on unity. Because there's a defiant joy in our lives and our stories and our communities. And we hold on to it and we claim it and we revel in it. Even when times are hard, even when the world is dangerous, this defiant joy is our strength and it's our power and it's our hope and it's our resilience and it's beautiful. When we're claiming our space and our place and saying God is within us, among us, out here on the margins, spirit is our defiant joy and resilience. The divine is in our quests and our fights for justice and equality. God is our rupturing of binaries. God is our anger and our grief, but God is also our dancing and our singing. We don't have to be mopey and sad. We can have pride and we can walk with our heads held high and we can revel in our identities and in our bodies. We can claim it all as the gifts from spirit that it is. And because of that, everywhere we go, people will see our defiant joy and they'll want to be a part of it. People will see the relationships that are built on the health and the communication instead of fear and shame. May it be so. Okay, so Peter, I'm going to have you cue up our next slide. So I'm going to end sort of the primary part of this with another music video. It's another one that is done by Billy Porter with his cast and crew of Pose. Pose was a television show that was on FX. I think you can probably stream it. I'm not sure actually on which streaming service that it's available. I highly recommend it. It was 3 seasons. It's sort of based on a film that was done, documentary that was done in the 80s called Paris is Burning. And what that was about was the ball scene in Harlem, where it gave, which is basically where voguing came from. And it was a place that marginalized people, many of whom were transgender and or not non-binary people, that could basically walk runway and be what they wanted to be. And so that's sort of, and so there were houses that were created. And so there was often a mother, and within her house, so like the house of extravaganza would have her children. It's kind of going back to the first video that Billy did, because often young, gay, lesbian, bi, trans, non-binary kids are kicked out of their homes and have no place to go. And so these homes in Harlem that were associated with the balls, or these houses, I should say, were safe havens for them. So Some of the lyrics are, the category is revolution. Can't nobody bring you down when you're hot. All you've got to do is love yourself. And if you just believe that you are the one that you need, you won't need anybody else. So get up if you love yourself. So let's take it away, Peter, with the cast and crew of Pose. Don't forget to pause. Okay, Peter, go quickly to the next slide. I know I'm over time. I apologize, Paul.
Long sec, bring it up here.
All is well, Doug, all is well.
Okay.
Wrong one. Ah.
Okay, so I just briefly wanted to introduce you to the cast. So Billy Porter, so he played a character named Pray Tell. He actually won an Emmy for Pose as Best Actor. One of the things I wanted you to be aware of is that Pose was one of the very first television series to hire trans women to play trans women. So this is India Moore. She played Angel. She is a trans actress and model. This is Haley Supar, who played Lulu, who's also trans. This is MJ Rodriguez. She played Blanca. She actually won a Golden Globe for Best Actress for Pose. She's also trans. This is Dominique Jackson, who played Electra, kind of a villain for a couple of the seasons, who is trans as well. This is Angelica Ross, who played Candy. She's also trans. What is her name? Charlene Woodward. She is a cis woman, as is Janet Mock, who is an executive director of the show, as is Steven. They both were part of the creation of it. You might recognize Sandra Bernhardt, the comedian. She was in it for a couple of seasons, and also in the, I think it was the final season, Patti LuPone, who's a Broadway star who won many Tonys. The first one, I think, for Evita, was also in it. So it's a really great show. Jeremy, who played Cubby, Jason, who played Lamar, and Ryan, Ryan played Damon, and Dylan played Ricky. They are all gay. And this is the fellow Angel, who played Little Poppy. He's a straight fellow. So it's a fabulous mixture of all the parts of the rainbow. Okay, we can go on to the next slide. So when I first came to this teaching 23 years ago, I read the following from the Science Mind textbook. It's on page 33. The finite alone has wrought and suffered. The infinite lies stretched in smiling repose. God is always God. No matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be, there is always something hidden in the inner being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings. I love that still to this day. And so I just delight in this movement that we are spreading. I delight in the defiance, in the anger, in the refusal to accept less than what we are worth. But most of all, I delight in the beauty and the joy that is embraced by the divine as each one of us. And if we can go just to the, oh, and I have a quick, before we go to the last slide, I have a quick things. So if you want to contact me, I am spiritboy@yahoo.com is my email. Our diversity circle is a week from this coming Friday. The topic is again talking about death won't kill you. And we go to the final slide. As my friend RuPaul always says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? So I'm going to invite you all to come off mute. Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen.
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 Thank you,
Amen.
everybody.
Can I make a brief announcement?
Yeah.
This is Cozy. Can I make a brief announcement?
Very brief.
Yes, well, this is about a trans person. I am the co-host of a live talk show that happens tomorrow night, sponsored by the Mental Health Association of San Francisco. Tomorrow night on our guest speaker is Honey Mahogany. Honey Mahogany has 20 years as a social worker, legislative aide, and chief of staff in District 6 under Matt Haney. In 2021, Honey was elected as chair of the San Francisco Democratic Party, making her the first Black chair of the party in San Francisco's history and the first transgendered person to serve as chair of any local Democratic Party, and one of the highest ranking transgender officials in the country. So that's one of our guest speakers tomorrow night. So if you're interested, Google Mental Health Association of San Francisco. Our talk show is called Real Talk. It happens tomorrow evening from 5 until 6:30.
Great.
Thank you, Cozy. We
Thanks,
support
Cozy.
you in your service of defiant joy, brother. Thank you so very, very much for that very important announcement. First of all, we are late, so all disclaimers put aside. I will deal with Reverend Sunshine later. But this was a most important topic and beautifully delivered with great love and motivation from our own practitioner, Doug Myers. So let's everybody turn on your cameras and can we show him some appreciation if you would? And thank him. I'm also going to ask if there's anybody. Oh, hi, Jackie. Oh, Jerry always has a twofer going on at her house. So I'm counting her now. So thank you, Douglas, for everything tonight. Are there any burning questions? If not, I'm going to move into our announcement. But other than our appreciation and letting him know we love him and grateful for this fabulous presentation, is there anybody that has a question that needs answering?
Apologies, I ran over.
I'll deal with her. Don't worry.
Thank you for the most fabulous and rich evening. Doug, you're always such an amazing teacher and so informative. So it was really lovely. Thank you.
Thanks,
And
Rachel.
Paul, it's so good to see you.
Thank you, Paul. I miss you.
I miss you, but we'll chat after. Let's get this service off the ground and into orbit so it can matriculate and percolate everything that Doug said. Fair enough, y'all?
Yeah.
Part of that
Thank you.
is, yes. So we got some great stuff going on at the center. So I'm please stay for these announcements and then we'll close with Doug and a very special friend praying us out tonight. So June is Pride Month, which is dedicated to the celebration of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning intersex and asexual LGBTQIA community. Pride Month began after the Stonewall riots, a series of gay liberation protests in 1969. Call me about it. I'll tell you all about it. I wasn't there, but I know a lot about it. So does Doug. We should have been there though, Doug, but we were just babies. Anyways, and has since spread outside of the United States. Next Monday is June 19th, also known as Juneteenth, a federal holiday in the United States since 2021. It was established to commemorate the emancipation of enslaved people in the United States. It is an important day of celebration for African Americans and all Americans alike. The day gets its name from combining the month of June and the date of the 19th, Juneteenth. So help us celebrate this holiday, which commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. This Sunday, June 18th, our own Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman speaks on the theme of pleasure. Meditation is at 10 and service is at 10:30. Next Wednesday, June 21st, you all been waiting for him. Well, he's back. Practitioner Lucian Baker will be joining us for a follow-up from that Sunday and continue the discussion on pleasure. Now, what do we know is one of his greatest pleasures? Hip hop, right? So I'm sure he'll be talking about that. Meditation is at 6:30 and services at 7, and that will be continuing in Zoom. Very important, early bird registration for the CSL Summer SOAR Conference at Asilomar ends soon on Thursday, June 16th. That's just in a couple days. So if you want to get on the early bird special to attend what everybody's just calling Asilomar this year, please visit the csl.org website. That's the headquarters website for more information. Now we're going to move into something fun. Let's have some fun and create together. Oakland Center's first annual online silent auction is looking for donations. Now we're not talking courtyard sale, okay? We're not doing that. This is a silent auction headed by our own board president, Maureen French, who's here tonight. But in the essence of time, I'm going to speed through this announcement. So what we want you to know is to thank those that have already donated things like life and leadership coaching, body and energy healing, a self-care extraordinaire towel warmer, handyman services, and other creative things. But now is the time to step out and share a talent or treasure, as Reverend Jerry often says, with your community. So if you have a talent or treasure, some of those things may be considered cash. Cash in your travel points that you've saved up, donate a timeshare or retreat, jewelry, artwork, music lessons, performance tickets, showcase, a trusted service provider. The list goes on into infinity. Take an action that will lift this community up. Creatively donate now. This auction is in support of the creative mind and the law of circulation. Let us create abundance in our sanctuary. Let's have some fun blessing our spiritual home with our talent and our treasure. Please reach out to Maureen French. I see you down there, darling. With donations or any questions. Donations will be accepted through Friday, June 24th. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about this at Sunday and probably in the courtyard in upcoming days as well. So you can contact Maureen. It's real easy by email. Maureen@oaklandcsl.org. Next on our list is our practitioner class of 2023 is graduating on Sunday, June 25th at 1:30. Please join us as we honor Peggy Cotton, yay, Maureen French, yay, Alice Knudsen, I think she's here too, yay, and Megan Lemon. Our brunch service will be back that day, so you can enjoy the food after service before the graduation. In celebration of Pride, Linda's getting on the bandwagon. So she says, come to the bookstore and enjoy a 30% discount off of any items in the bookstore related to rainbows, chakras, and social justice. The member virtual gathering of the One Heart will take place on Friday and Saturday, September 29th and 30th, and will be online. You can find out more information about that also at the headquarters csl.org. Please visit the upcoming classes and workshop page on our website at oaklandcsl.org for more information about learning opportunities. And don't forget to visit the events page on our website to see more about our upcoming special events. As always, for information on all that's going on at the Oakland Center, visit and explore our website and sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Village News. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates and content you'll only find by liking and subscribing to Oakland Center. Please like us. I like us. I like you. So please like us and subscribe to Oakland Center today. And speaking of liking people, look at these lovely faces that do so much at our center. Constance is here behind the scenes tonight. Reverend Sunshine. Maureen's here. Susan and Dorothy's here tonight. Dow and for facilities, Sanford. Bless these folks for all the work that they do. Get to know them better if you don't know them. And they're always willing to help answer any questions that you have about our center. So with a grateful and defiantly joyous heart, I'm going to move into our joyous giving time. If you have anything to donate for our silent auction, hold that close in your heart and in your mind. Right now, if you have some money you'd like to give us or an offering of any type, if you already tithe and you already donate automatically, oh, I am so grateful. We are all benefited by your gracious, gracious generosity. But let's hold whatever that gift is that you give to the center in time, talent, or treasure, and follow along as I make an affirmative offering affirmation. This gift I give is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. And so it is. So use the donate icon on our website's homepage if you would like to submit an offering. It's the hearts up there. If you'd like to submit an offering tonight. Once there, you'll see the 5 ways you can give via the donate icon. Credit card, by mail, Zelle, by texting, or join us at service on Sunday and use the offering basket. We also take checks. So, you know, we are a non-denominational collector of finances. Okay, we'll take it any way we can get it. And in the spirit of gratitude, I want to thank some people. First of all, Doug, you were wonderful on our meditation today. Thank you so much. Thank you for this talk. This will go down in history. Send your friends, please, to go watch this on the YouTube channel. It should be up on Monday. I want to thank the ministers that are in the room or were in the room if they haven't left yet. Rev Deb, I see you down there. Are you in Georgia? Where are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm in Georgia. We had a,
And who's on
yes.
the iPhone? Are you a Reverend too as well?
That's Megan.
Oh, that's Megan.
Megan.
Recognize you. Congratulations on your graduation as a practitioner. Thank you so much. I want to thank Reverend. So far, the long distance award goes to Rev Deb. You
Right.
always tend to dominate this. Anybody further than Georgia? Okay, so you win tonight, but we're glad you're here supporting us ministerially tonight, Rev Deb. I want to thank Reverend
Yes.
Bartholomew for she's near Zion National Park with her husband Dave and Gracie, their RV with their baby dog or grown-up dog, their baby, in Utah, but she connected and put this all together tonight, and she's our lead host, and I just want to thank her. Reverend Jerry Carter, all the way from long distance, short distance of Alameda. Thank you for and dragging Jackie O along with you. Thank you so much. And did I get all the ministers? Yes, I did. So it concludes my ministerial support. There's support here that goes voluntarily, and they give every Wednesday night. And I am so grateful that our legacy of Wednesday night continues, but it would not be even possible without their dedication and support. Up in Portland tonight is our Peter Gum. Thank you, Peter, with all my heart. Alice at Lake Merritt, the long, far away Lake Merritt. Thank you, darling, for everything you're doing behind the scenes. And last but not leastly, and most importantly for me, is Constance Chaplain. She keeps everything together administratively, announcements, scripts, contacts, and me all together. And that's not easy. So thank you, Constance, for what you do. So in the spirit of gratitude, we're going to close our service tonight, a little late, but nonetheless important. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all that will be watching us on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. With that in mind, I'm going to call Doug forward. He's going to introduce who's closing prayer tonight for us. But I do know something special to us. She's an emeritus, and I celebrate that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So for 4 terms over the past 2 years in advanced consciousness studies, so we actually have Alice Knudsen from the class, Megan Lemon, Maureen French, and Alice Herndon was with us as well. I had
Peggy dropped in for a minute. She was able to come in for
was she okay? So Peggy Cotton also great. And Betty who didn't finish with us at all. But my rock was Dorothy, and Dorothy graciously accepted the challenge of doing our benediction tonight. So I love you, Dorothy, and here you go.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, Doug, for this fabulous service that you gave us today. And especially me, you have enlightened me in all of this. So let us all take one collective deep breath together and just exhale with the as we recognize and know that there's only one of us here. Regardless of gender, we are one. One power, one presence. We are one in the knowing that God is truly our source and our sufficiency in all things, regardless of who we love, who we are one. One in the spirit of the living presence that we call God. And I give thanks. I give thanks for the message that was given to us today, as we open our hearts and our minds to understand more of that which we did not know. Giving thanks and celebrating this month of pride. Celebrating our family members who are part of this, our friends who are part of this, just knowing that we are all one and that God is right where we are, right where they are. We are one in that power, in that presence that we call God. So I'm giving thanks for each and every person who has showed up here today, who has opened their hearts and their minds to take in this wonderful message that was given today. I just say thank you. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. And we as a community, as we celebrate our loved ones, our family, our friends, our community, and knowing that God is truly our source and our sufficiency in all things. And so I know until we meet again, may God bless us and keep us in his grace. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
Oh, it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Mhm.